Andrew Jack just won $1 million, and Brandon Curry brought the thunder. Let's talk about it.
What's up, boys? How y'all doing?
What's up? What's up?
Yo, yo, and yo.
Chris, your voice sounds out too. Is your voice out too?
Man, I've gotten 2 of these congestion colds over the last like 2 months. The first one, I lost my voice completely. And then that was when I went to Cincinnati. Then I came back. The whole family, I thought I was over it. The whole family sick, got it again. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in antibiotics. I don't take any of that stuff, man. So I just kill it with over-the-counter stuff and let it do its thing.
That's good, dude, man. Antibiotics like literally cause all my tendon tears, especially the fluoroquinolones like Levaquin. Doctors didn't tell you back then, but I was prescribed Levaquin numerous times by my primary care doctor. That causes the primary injury is Achilles tendon tears, but it weakens all your tendons. And even when you get off of it, like a good doctor, if you have to take Levaquin, which is other antibiotics, Levaquin is just a really powerful one. They tell you don't work out at all while you're on Levaquin because you can tear a tendon. So after I took Levaquin twice, I ruptured my tricep, just like getting out of like a bed. I tore my pec on a monkey bar thing with my daughter. It just like I was like, and it went poof and tore over. I was jumping with my daughter. I leaped and it tore from my groin to the top of my pelvic area, and no doctor could figure out what was going on. They're like, oh, you could do this or this, and I found it was called a Gilmore growing tear, and basically all the tendons, they're just all shredded. So they can't repair it. So they just go in there and they take the nerve out, so you don't feel the pain. And then we were talking about surgeries earlier because King just hurt his shoulder. Chris got surgeries. We can go through I think I started hernia when I was 20. Then I had 3 more hernia surgeries, and then I had another 5th hernia surgery to revise the one that failed, the mesh. The last one they put in was a mesh this big. So I'm distended like all the time, no matter what I do. 2 shoulder surgeries on this shoulder. That's what got done with bodybuilding. The surgeon I went to, you go to the best surgeons ever and you still get bad results. I went to Texas Rangers guy. We did an MRI. It showed I had a torn supraspinatus. It didn't show my labrum just because of the muscle mass. So when he got in there, he saw the labrum was torn. He didn't fix it because in his mind, he's always doing baseball players. Baseball, you got to snap back and throw that ball, right? So, like, I'm not a baseball player. I'm a bodybuilder, right? So after he's like, hey, man, I didn't fix your labrum, but it should be okay because the tear's small. I'm like, why didn't you fix my labrum while you're in my shoulder? He's like, you'll be fine. And it's like, okay, get done with all my rehab. And then I go back to trying to do weight. I can't press a 10-pound dumbbell without severe pain. I had to go right back in. I was out 2 years upper body training, and that's what ended my competing. And then I came back in 2014 and did a few shows, but it just wasn't the same. Tricep tendon surgery, pec surgery, 2 serious sinus surgeries, gyno surgery. And then I think that's it, man.
Jesus Christ.
But I think it all stemmed for those fluoroquinolones, because there's been so many cases where, especially on TikTok, people took fluoroquinolones and they're bound to a wheelchair. Like, it's that serious. So if anybody's taking Levaquin or Cipro's not as strong, but tell your doctor you want a different antibiotic, because those cause tendon tears, and they don't just stop after you take them. They can last up to a year. You're a high risk for tendon tears. And Chris, what surgeries have you had?
Bro, so bodybuilding didn't bring me any surgeries. I never had.
Neither. Yeah.
I've had like the occasional like hip tweak on a squat day or something that, but within a week or 2 was fine. And then a shoulder tweak from doing overhead presses, but nothing serious at all in bodybuilding. Then when I retired, the day I retired, I got into MMA. I literally walked into that facility.
Did you fight before then? Did you fight before then?
No, I wrestled. I wrestled my whole life, and that's why it was appealing. You know, at being a bodybuilder, just looking. You remember, late '90s, early 2000s, started getting really popular, and we were looking
Yeah.
from a distance because we were
Yeah.
bodybuilding. I was just like, man, that would be just from an
I would
athletic
do.
perspective.
I went with a couple of my friends and did all that, and I didn't like getting hit in the face. I didn't think it was fun. So
You know, like
it's like it's not for me.
I didn't honestly, like, dude, I like banging. Like I'm not a stand-up guy. Naturally, I was a ground guy, but I
Yeah.
really enjoy the stand-up game. But that catches up with you. I learned, right? Like, so I got knocked out in my last fight, and I didn't think I could get knocked out. So it was a bit of a wake-up call, and that's what retired me from fighting, and I just continue with jiu-jitsu. But
The first time you got knocked out cold, that you retired.
yeah, and it wasn't not a flash knockout. It was a knockout, and that was the only fight I lost, actually. But my wife is sitting there in the crowd with two kids on her hips, right? And she's just like, you know, oh hell, this is stupid, right? So I was in the finance business, had a great job, so you know, just it didn't make any sense. You know, it obviously was kind of stupid, but. So I just went and continued jiu-jitsu from there for the next, you know, I think that fight was in 2012 or 2013 maybe. And then from then on jiu-jitsu until like 6 months ago. So
yeah, I mean that's all. Yeah, but jiu-jitsu is a lot of injuries too, though, right? Like bicep
yeah, I mean that's where I've had
holds
2 knee surgeries, 2 foot surgeries, 2 shoulder surgeries. You know, 1 on each side for each of these. A hand surgery. I actually, in fights, I ruptured the ligament that ties the big knuckle of your thumb and the lower part of your thumb together. So like when you go to grab a drink, it just pops out of socket if it's not there. So you have to have it repaired. And both times, one time by throwing an uppercut, the guy's chin hit it and it broke it.
Were you wearing gloves? Did you wear gloves?
Well, MMA gloves, but they're
okay,
open.
MMA gloves.
The thumb is open, right? So, and then the second one in a fight, we went falling to the ground, and you know, just posting my hand up, it just popped it that way. So, and then, but on my last shoulder surgery, which was only 2.5 years ago or so, that's when I got introduced to peptides. Actually, that's what got me into the peptide business, was the healing that I had a 100% bicep tear, so they had to reattach it. I had a 70% shoulder cuff tear and a 40% labrum tear. So it was a pretty significant, you know, surgery. I was back lifting weights in 3 weeks, and now wasn't lifting heavy, obviously, but back just going through, putting myself through a therapy process. And one of the things that in surgeries in particular, you know, you have a shoulder surgery as an example. First thing they do is they put you in a sling, right? And they limit your movement. Oh, you can't move it. Like, that is absolute bullshit. And I believe that that's actually structurally, they do that so that scar tissue will form, so that you become a continual patient from then on. So first thing I do is I come home from surgery, I take my shoulder out of that sling. I'm not lifting with it or using it, but just allowing it to move and swing, right? Allows or disallows that scar tissue to form.
But
and then you don't
Chris, like the what they put in there because I used to do OR repping for 2 years. Like when I had mine, just to let it set for like the first couple weeks at least, then maybe do that. Like
so look, all that you've been bolted together in essence, right?
Yeah.
And they're not sutured together. So I'm not talking about lifting it up and moving it or doing this. I'm just talking about literally allowing it, literally just enough movement like this as you walk around, not using it in any other form. Just that little bit of movement will keep that scar tissue from forming, right? We know this, right? In any joint surgery, the biggest issue post-surgery is scar tissue. You deal with that for the rest of your life if you don't manage it quickly. People like professional athletes, football players, etc. Their protocols, dude, they don't get put in a boot for 6 weeks. No, they have them out. They have small movements. They have them therapying it right from the get-go. And that's how these guys have these kind of miracle comebacks, you know?
I remember Branch Warren, after his knee tear, he was back in the gym like within like a very short period of time that like never been done. And Brian was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And Branch was like, "Yeah." And like they didn't know if it was going to re-tear or not. Like when I was just sick back in October, I went septic and it attacked my knee. They had to cut open my knee and do knee surgery. So I mean, there weren't like cutting tendons or anything, but they had to cut me open, and it was like an infection there because when you go septic with the blood infection, it attacks like just random joints, everything. So when it attacked my elbow, spine, and knee, they had to cut open my knee and clean it all out. So the doctor said, "Hey man, your knee is probably going to be like, your knee starts getting arthritic, right? At whatever age, everybody's different."
Yeah.
So he's like, "It's going to be arthritic like 10 years sooner than it normally would be. So you're probably need a knee replacement a lot faster." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." So, and then the one on my spine, we were able to get rid of it with the PICC line in. The PICC line was 3 months of hardcore antibiotics, and then I had oral antibiotics that I just finished like 2 weeks ago. And but yeah, the scar tissue in my knee is so bad still. Like I've been meaning to do it, like because dry needling. My wife knows how to dry needle, she's a PT, and then I've got a shockwave therapy tool at my house too to use. That I bought, I just never used it. But yeah, scar tissue, you got to get that out. That's what people's problem is after surgery. They let that build up, and then your mobility and everything, and it hurts. So you got to get massaged and work all that stuff out. So Key, you've been blessed. I'm not having to have any of that, man.
I've never had any surgery ever. The biggest injury I've ever had was I was doing a 700-pound deadlift. This is a long time ago, and I heard my lower back pop, and then there was just a disc injury, and I was back in the gym 3 weeks later after that. I was also radioactive because I was, at my maximum IFBB, pro range and all that stuff, doing all the anabolics and all the stuff that we did. But no, I've never had it. This is the first time my shoulder's ever been tweaked like this before. It's annoying as hell. That's the thing right there. But I mean, I can move it, but it hurts.
I would do PRP, and then I would do BBC and TV.
Yeah, I was actually gonna. Funny as it sounds, ironic as it sounds, I was gonna contact Chris. I got somebody down in the South who I deal with peptides and stuff like that. He referred me to a girl who owns a peptide company. She sent me a price list. I'm going to send you the price list, and can you just help me out? Let me know what's good.
Yeah, of course, dude. But King, I'll give you my stuff like just for what I get it for. We'll get you healed up, of course. I mean, and they are right on the BPC side, and then you combine it with TB500, and then you got to be on a GHRH, a growth hormone releasing peptide that will. It's the cream to, I mean, just like when we took growth hormone, right? I mean, it's that overlay of healing and keeping you strong. And obviously it's a natural production. So even people that are on growth hormone, I recommend on a GHRH because it allows a balance of secretagogue combined with the synthetic, just like being on HCG while you're on cycles at different times, keep those nuts running. So, but yeah, man, we'll talk about it offline. I'll get you hooked up.
Appreciate it. Yeah, and as we were discussing before we came on air, isn't it crazy? Like I've military pressed at my max, almost 405 for 3. I never got injured. I got injured by hack squatting.
Yeah,
as crazy as that sounds. I'm hack squatting a week ago, and I'm pushing up on the last, and it was 5 plates on each side. It's not that much. When I say it's not that much, people think,
relatively speaking,
because we used to do 8. So for me, 5 is like, okay, it's 70%. I'm not going crazy and trying to, guest pose in the gym. It was on that last rep, and I felt a little twinge. And ever since then, and unfortunately nowadays, you go on YouTube and you think you're dying. You go and you see 50 different websites. Everyone's saying something different. You think you're dead. You think you can never move again. That's why I stopped. I just called.
You can't eat anything. You can't eat anything anymore. Everything's going to kill you and give you cancer.
It's the worst thing you can do is go on the internet and try to become your own doctor. It doesn't work that way. Just like Chris said right now, he experienced. I've seen many things on recovery, saying the same thing Chris just said. Don't just sit there. You got to have some type of movement. You got to get this thing moving. You got to get. It's all there. This is just new to me. I've never really been injured.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the tough part is as it starts to feel better, you can't test it. You got to let it, you got to keep it very moderate with the pressure you put on it in the gym for, let it actually heal up, I mean, and you got to, like, I think about it like this, like when you have a steak sitting on your plate, when you're eating a steak and you cut that thing, right? And let's say you had a similar type of tear in, inside your body, whether it be muscular, ligament, tendon, whatever, realistically, even with the help of growth hormone or testosterone and peptides, how long would it take realistically for it not to seal like a cut, right? You get it sutured or you could glue it if you've ever done that.
Yeah.
But if you put pressure on it, you can pop it back open. For how long will that actually take? Well, you got to figure it's going to take a minimum for a real tear. It's going to take a few weeks, man. You've got to. Yeah. Now, the trick is, how do we get blood flow to this area safely? Because you need that rinse. You need that new nutrient to get back in there. And that's the movement piece I'm talking about. If your arm is sitting here in a sling for 6 weeks, you're not getting any blood flow to already a low blood volume soft tissue. So ligaments and tendons, that's why they take so long to heal, because there's no blood flow, right? Whereas the muscles are a little better because they have a little more blood flow. But when you're able to move them, just like literally it just swinging as you're walking, that will bring nutrient to that area, especially because your body knows that it's messed up.
Yeah.
The problem is, Chris, people are in pain and they don't, it hurts. So I think it's like, okay, this is bad because it hurts. Even after my surgeries, my wife, that's her job. She's a physical therapist. She's like, you need to start moving and stuff. You can't just keep I know it hurts, but you gotta start doing something, for the pec, you really don't do anything, but for the tricep and all that, I think my painful one was the tricep was pretty bad, that recovery. And then my last hernia one, where they had to go in 8 different places in my abdominal and put the mesh, take the old mesh out and put the new mesh in that's this big, dude. It's just man.
Here's a question for you, Arnon.
Yeah, how would you recommend hernia surgery? Epigastric one that doesn't cause dissension but sticks like a thumb. That's just cosmetic. So if it's not hurting you, I mean, it's up to you if you want to do the surgery or not. I'm like the king of hernias, so I always give people advice of hernia surgery because I've been through it. I've had 5 total, actually 6 because I had an inguinal one too. So,
but once that abdominal wall has been compromised, though, the probability of it is, if you put a lot of pressure on it, doing heavy lifts or whatever, the probability of it expanding probably goes up. So depending on what you're doing, if you're training hard, I'd recommend take some time off, get that thing fixed, because on the extreme side, if it's torn bad enough and you get some part of your intestine that pushes through or into that open spot, right now we have a whole nother game, a whole nother issue.
Yeah, but a lot of people too, they don't have, they don't have insurance. These days you have to have insurance, man, these days. Because you get an injury, whatever, knee, shoulder, you're gonna pay like $40K if you don't have insurance. So insurance sucks. It's hard getting good insurance to cover, and it's expensive and all that. But people need to get it. But I guess let's roll into Arnold. UK, $1 million, dude. That's crazy for Andrew. Where do you want to start with Andrew? He looked great. He looked crazy. I think we all knew he was kind of going to win that show. Right?
He looked better than he did at the Olympia.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
He just keeps getting better. And
it looked like his legs were fuller. It looks like his condition was sharper. He still doesn't have that grainy look, but compared to everybody else, and I have to pat myself on the back, and I could if I could reach. I knew that Brandon's going to bring it, and he did. It was obvious.
I've been talking to Brandon back and forth, and then we talked about his whole luggage situation too. And people that don't know, he lost his luggage, never got there. So he shows up for the UK Arnold. How stressful is that? No clothes, his wife takes really good care of him, so she packed all his food and for all the days he's going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
No trunks. And you're particular with your trunks, you know what I mean? Like you have to get some to fit you well. And then no special supplements either, but he got help. He called ahead of time and said, "Hey man, my luggage is not there." He's Brandon, so everybody helped him out where he needed it. He got everything he needed. And we're having him on, I think, in a couple of weeks or something. He said he's gonna come on.
And that's what they're supposed to do, Armand. They're supposed to help them out.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know. But
you got to have, especially the promoters. I got to give shout out to the promoter in Australia. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about? Who does the Australian Grand Prix? He was very helpful. Whatever you need, he was always there for you. Shout out to Australia. But yeah, you got it. You got to. You're a top professional. You're a Mr. Olympia. You got to have that help, man. And flying nowadays, my God, you got to be a fucking lunatic to get on a plane. It is just awful. Awful.
Yeah, it's bad experiences, man. And it's just like, gosh, I think my worst was sitting on the runway for like 4 or 5 hours one time. My anxiety was so bad, at least I had a bottle of Xanax with me, because it's like you're just sitting there, it's hot as shit. It's like everybody's mad, and it was terrible. But yeah, flying is
I have the ability to be able to go to sleep. If there was a Category 9 hurricane, I can sleep.
Yeah.
I have the ability to pass the fuck out wherever I am. It doesn't matter. And airplanes, when I start hearing that noise, that airplane hum, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm a light sleeper. I rarely sleep. I sleep like 3 hours a night. Like last night I didn't sleep. I did all nighter working, but then I rarely sleep. I get like 3 hours a night. My body's just used to it at night, like by now. But not good for you. But hey, I mean, some people. I had a competitor for like 8 years. He only got like 4 hours of sleep a night, and I was like, "How do you function?" And he was always fine. He looked good for his shows. And then I was like, "Why don't you just try, since you're slowing down on your work a little bit, try sleeping 8 hours a night?" And then he started getting headaches really bad from sleeping 8 hours a night. So everybody's different. So
yeah,
but sleep's important though. I mean, that's how you recover. But
But look, I think Brandon, I was elated to see the call out and the recognition. I thought he looked great too from the back, man. When he pulled his shoulders back, when he pulled his elbows back, bro, it was pretty grainy and nasty. Again, it fits right into my, I've thought this for quite a while, right? With at his best, right? The best that Andrew has the potential to bring is just too much right now, too much of a package for, I think, virtually anybody. And so, he's up against that, but kudos to him for finally getting that second place. He should have got it in the domestic, Arnold, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon's, I don't know if you've watched much of his training, but he's changing his training up a lot. Like he's doing different angles just to kind of get that like little feel that he's never felt before. He said he just started doing some back movements that he's never really done before.
So I mean, are we tapping in now to the science, right? It's funny. These youngsters that I train with now over at Absolute Recomp here, that's always the discussion, right? It's like they always say, "Oh, it's the science training," right? Relative to our old school heavy compound movement stuff. And I got to be honest, like now that I'm a little older, I'm certainly a lot more open to new ideas, right? To keep the the potential injury, et cetera, down. And this more slower movement, squeezing different angles, and all these machines that allow for isolation. King and all of us, in order for me to go build a quad, hamstring, glute base, right? You got to get under that squat bar. You got to get ass to ankles, and you could just pound it out. Man, now you go into they've got these arc squat machines, and where now first of all, it eliminates, maybe you guys have this, maybe you don't, but I can tell you, when I put 6 plates on, which I did every week, right? And I was going ass to ankles on that. I'm afraid. I was every freaking leg day, you're nervous going into that building, knowing what you're going to subject yourself to and the possibility of you finally just breaking. And luckily I didn't, but now I can go into the gym, put myself under the same kind of pressure, if you will, without the element of that free weight fear, right? With some of these weights, man, I'm liking how the body's responding. And seeing someone like Brandon do the same. I don't know, man. There's some interesting data coming out of this.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
machines are, a lot of people don't like them. You know, like I know King, you don't really like a lot of the things. My buddy Steve, that I am one of my best friends, I train in prep too. And I mean, prep for his shows, he doesn't really like that stuff. He trains at Mustraflex, which doesn't have any of those machines. But I like them too. I've had so many injuries, like especially on back. I could never feel my back doing hardly any exercises. My back's always been weak. I've had nerve damage ever since I played soccer, in my neck. And so, you know, go to Absolute Recon, do the Panada, like certain pull down machines. I'm like, wow, I feel my lats. Like, that's pretty cool. I wish I had that when I was competing. So they've got, you know, really cool stuff. I think a lot of people, you know, they're all starting on machines though too, Chris. I think you got to have like a happy medium, you know, the science training plus the hardcore training. I think, you know, they get a little too crazy with how strict your form has to be. Is so that, like, come on, you got to push it a little bit. I think at the first, and as you get older, adjust your training as you go. But a lot of the guys that are really into these science, you know, when I first got on TikTok, like, I just found out how it was. Is like science-based trainers and old school trainers. So everybody was calling me an old head. You don't know what you're talking about. Science-based training, this and that. And these are like 150-pound kids telling me all this stuff. I'm like, you're 150 pounds. Literally, you're 150 pounds. So saying like ridiculous things. And I'm talking about these creators have hundreds of thousands of followers and people's buying programs off them nonstop. They're saying there's no need for barbell rows. It doesn't actually build your back. You don't need this. And everybody, this one Asian guy, he started this. Everybody uses these cables. You'll see it every gym now. They're using a cable and doing everything and smooth their body like that and using like just a few plates. And everybody has copied it. You've probably seen it. I forgot the guy's name, but I think there's a, you know, happy medium in between to kind of, you know, do a little bit of both. And a lot of people are afraid to get under their free weight squats. But you know, you said, you know, you got 6 plates. I always went up to 5.5. I never got to 6, but still, I think, you know, just starting that way, you know, because when you're doing these squat machines, you feel it only in your quads. When you're doing free weight squats, you're feeling every single muscle in your body, holding all those plates, coming down. And I think that's just important too, working stabilizing muscles, also doing all the dumbbell stuff, stabilizing muscles. So I think a lot of the guys too, they got to mix it up. They got to do both. I don't think you could do just all machines.
Well, one of the interesting things just pertaining to that exactly, for example, King, you were just talking about you hurt your shoulder doing hacks, right? So old school, like for me, I'd go under hacks and my feet position, like hacks were particularly kind of scary too, because they forced my feet lower, right? So then my knee had to extend closer or further toward my toe or beyond my toe than a squat. So it's uncomfortable. It hurts, right? And you always have that feeling of like, you know, if this thing goes south. Whereas now it's interesting. I started doing hacks with obviously a lighter weight, but literally bringing my foot way down and purposefully shooting my knee way beyond my toe. And so that you get that focused above the like lower quad toward the knee, you know, area, and just going slow and really squeezing it. And then, man, I tell you, I'm walking away like I am hacked afterwards, right? For 2 days, I'm sore as could be. And I'm like, man, this is just very interesting because I'm putting the overall stress is lower because I'm doing it with, like you said, 4 plates instead of 8 or whatever the case. But yet the isolation and the, you know, and the squeeze is so much different. Man, it's very interesting anyway.
Yeah. I've always said that people,
what I do now is I go all the way down and I sit.
Yeah.
I start with 1 plate on each side. I go sit. I just go completely down and I'm just sitting there relaxing. And then I come back up. And then I finish my set. Then I do 2 plates. I go down and sit. 3 plates. I go down and sit. Now, when I get to 4 plates and you go down and sit, all right, then your brain starts to switch to warrior mode, saying, okay, Now this is getting serious now, but I always on that first rep go all the way down until I can't go on, just pretty much just sit at the bottom, and then I explode back up. That'll let me know if it's going to be a good day. Should I go back a little bit? Should I cut back, just do volume? But saying exactly what you said, that is the way that I have manufactured myself into a new training style. I go low and I throw my knees forward. Even when I finish up, I do my own specific kind of sissy squat. Most people just put their hands over their chest and hold on to something and they go all the way down. No, I put the bar on the corner, put the Olympic bar on my shoulder, and I put one hand right here, one hand forward like this on the bar, and I go all the way like I'm about to fall backwards. Knees come all the way forward, and I come back up. I get the best pump from that exercise than any other exercise.
Your body, I always tell people your body doesn't know like the difference between 5 plates and 2 plates. It's the way you execute.
Lee Haney used to say that all the time.
Right? It doesn't. So people's like, oh, you're training too light. Like, dude, like come do this the way I do it, how you pull it, bring it down or whatever. And your body doesn't know, and putting that stress on the muscle. Like I think Nick Walker, I like the way he trains. Like he's very smart, and it's obviously worked for him. He's put on tons of muscle, but even when I was coming up and all that, so we didn't have any of that kind of. Nobody trained that way at all. You had to go balls to the wall. You had to do this much weight, or you weren't going to grow. You were told.
Nick Walker trained like a hardcore, old school bodybuilder with the heavy, all that stuff. I think he would look like Mustafa Muhammad. I think he would have the same exact look, that blocky, gigantic, looking. Nick is going past that and going to the next phase faster than anybody else because he didn't go that route. He's doing the negative route, which is this. That's what Brandon's doing right now. Brandon is incorporating the negatives with the Charles Glass style training. Different angles, different this. And guess what? He's elongated his career just like Dexter Jackson did. Dexter moved to California, learned a different way to train from Charles, and expanded his career 4 more years.
Yeah. King, you just let's talk about actually Hassan. Okay. He keeps showing up at these shows. It's been years now. He never comes in shape. At this point, I'm not trying to be rude or whatever. Like, dude, retire. Why are you showing up on the professional stage? No, I'm not trying to be like, why are you showing up on the professional stage so out of shape every single time, every single show?
Alex, I can answer that question because in the Middle East, he's still somebody. In his gym, he's the man. He's still,
but on that stage, he's not.
Exactly, but he's got that gym body. You walk in a gym and everybody's like, Jesus Christ, and look at that. But I know plenty of guys like that.
He won't suffer. It's not a thing like, oh, my body can't get in shape. He's just not willing to suffer because, dude, it's been like how many years of people's like, man, he has so much muscle. If he brings it in like condition, and he'll look absolutely insane, but he just won't go to that place where you're super uncomfortable and feel terrible. And if he like, dude, you're at the top level. Why won't you just try it? Do it once, like 6 weeks. Just do it like a hardcore, diet and get down there.
Just don't have that capability. Big Ramy got to a point where Dennis James had to put padlocks on the refrigerator. we all heard that. Dennis James had to install cameras in his kitchen to catch Ramy waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go snack on something. He had the listen, it's a warrior mentality. At this point in my life, I'm used to egg whites and no carbs and eating pure celery tastes good to me. As crazy as that sounds, I like eating plain celery. It kind of has a nice sweet little taste. I like it. You know what? Because I suffered so much that I don't need. I don't even care about that anymore. If it's time to eat something, okay, I'll go eat it. But if it's not there, I don't need it, man. It's just you have to have that power. You got to be able to, especially food. Food can take control of your entire life, man. I've seen so many people go down that road where food just dominates their life, and I'm not going to let that happen, man.
Yeah, I was kind of different. When I stopped competing, I was like, doing at one point, dude, I was eating these, I forgot what brand of ice cream sandwiches. It was like 4 big ones in a box. I was doing like, dude, 6 boxes a night, or like during a day, like every single day for like almost 2 years. And I didn't look bad. My face was extremely bloated because I carry water in my face very easily, but I felt like shit. And then when I cut that out, I felt a lot better. But I'm kind of like, I won't train for like months or even sometimes a year or eat that well, and then I'll do it for a year, because I get burnt out easily if I just keep going into the gym. I have to have breaks. Either I'll get injured, or if I don't get injured, I'll just take a couple months off, because I just get bored with the gym. So I have to have that because your muscle's not going anywhere. It'll go away for a little bit, and then you'll come right back as soon as you get back to the gym. So
you go through phases, man. You go through your phases. I've messed with Chris many times now about bringing the blonde bleach blonde.
Yeah, I got the box sitting in my bathroom. It's coming. I promise. I just got to do it.
And you know, like you just go through these phases. Like right now, you couldn't pay me to wear a fucking tight shirt to. I always try to dress like I thank God for The Rock, man. I always I met him a few times and we talked. But he brought back classy looking outfits, you know what I'm saying, the nice tops and the dress pants and that. Thank God for that. I just can't do it anymore. I'm in a different phase. Of course, I still love the muscle. You know, everybody keeps saying, why are you still 260, 270? Oh, well, I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do? Not eat anymore? So it's like you go through your phases, but I like where I am right now, man.
I think, you know, when you did bodybuilding most of your life, you were showing your muscle all the time. So it's like, I always wear oversized shirts too. Like, I don't like, what's the point of, I don't, a lot of bodybuilders, they don't wear tight stuff at all. Like, you know, most bodybuilders wear oversized shirts, bigger shirts. They don't want to be looked at everywhere they go, because it looks like you're trying hard too. Even if it's a double or a triple X shirt, you're still like, that person's like trying too hard if you're wearing that.
I didn't want to be that Guido. I didn't like, you know, I was very sensitive to it. And I got to be honest with you, man, after I retired and then ended up, there's a picture you can find on the internet in 2007. So about a year after I retired, I did a jiu-jitsu tournament at the Olympia and I won it. But there's this picture, and dude, like I was walking around the Olympia. My head was shaved. No one knew who I was at all. Right. But now it's funny, man. I have a new appreciation for it. I really do, actually. Like you would never catch me at the beach with my shirt off. You would never catch me wearing a tank top out and about. You never catch me in a sleeveless, because I felt like a chump doing it. Right now that I'm getting my body back, I have this new appreciation for it, man. Here's a very interesting one. I would never, as an example, leg day. I'm wearing a big shirt, right? You're not, because all your blood's in your legs. You feel like a skinny dude, no matter how big you are, right?
I think we all did that. We never,
yeah, I do legs now in a tank top. And it's funny because I know I would have never done that before, but now I don't give a like, I know I look pretty good, right, on a relative basis. And then frankly, I don't get as hot. I don't feel as sick. It's a lot more productive. But man, that's that mental game that so many of us go through. My wife used to be like, oh no, that shirt looks really good. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't want people thinking I'm trying to like show. So I would always baggy it up, man. And you know, when you're that size, dude, back then, the only damn thing I could wear was FUBU, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't even dress nice, right?
Chris, so, I was known for wearing hot skins. That was my thing. And not only just hot skins, singlets. I used to wear
I loved them.
On back days, on calf days,
yeah,
and walking around the gym with my Atomics high, you know, and with the puffy socks like Cutlery, the whole thing, man. And from there, I've seen the evolution. What cracks me up now is when I went to see my son's football games this year, and then the kids that are coming, you couldn't pay me to wear pajamas and Crocs.
Crocs.
These kids do not care, man.
Yeah, you're right.
They just don't. At the last game, Johnny's last game, he's JV. Varsity came and they were standing on the sideline. Every kid had on Crocs, pajamas, and a hoodie. and they all look like Ewoks. I mean, I was like, what the hell is this? I'm looking at my daughter. I'm like, is this the style? She goes, yeah, that's how they
like
dress.
no dignity, man. Where's the dignity? You know,
and they wear it to the gym too. They wear the same thing to the gym, pajama pants.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what you used to do. Come to the gym dressed like that. The owners would they would kick you out.
You weren't allowed to wear those type of shoes
in Atlanta. If you ever went to Lee's gym or Rope Man's gym, Animal Kingdom in Atlanta, you'd come dressed like that. The Rope Man will throw you out of the gym. Get the hell out of here, man! Don't dress like that in my gym.
That's funny, man. Yeah.
All right. So, Andrew, okay. He obviously won. Well, let's talk about his posing, because he even said he really don't practice these routines. He kind of comes up with something in his head. It just kind of goes to the music. King, you coming from a place where you had crazy posing routines and all that. What do you think about that? And let's be real. His posing's still not like on point on stage. He still has got a lot of work to do with his posing. And he finally kind of learned how to do the side chest right. So he looks really good now. It was real awkward for a while to get that side chest down. I get it. He has real long, arms and stuff like that. But he's being criticized by some people like, hey, he needs to get on his posing more. He's not probably practicing. When he posed with, I believe, Cormier's like, he would do 3 rounds. He wouldn't do it. He's like, I'm good. I'm done. No, that's it. And I even remember practicing posing like an hour a day. And so that's like 3 rounds of posing. That's like maybe 10, 15 minutes, go through it 3 times. And he's like, that's good for me. I'm done. And the guys don't want to pose.
I would do, Armand, is I would suggest and recommend to every up and coming bodybuilder to go watch Lee Labrada's posing routines.
Oh, yeah, man.
When he used to walk out on stage, I'm getting goosebumps right now. You'd get goosebumps and saying, wow, what the hell did I just witness? Me, myself, personally, when I was a teenager coming up and I would see these guys in the first Arnold that I went to, and I thought I was seeing gods on stage. I was saying to myself, why isn't everybody doing what Vince Taylor's doing? I don't understand. He's obviously the best one. He's getting the best reaction. That's when I made a promise to myself. I'm like, listen, I've been a breakdancer. I know how to do that stuff. I'm going to make sure that I entertain. The entertaining aspect of pro bodybuilding is right now dead. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. People don't go out there and do. There is no Melvin Anthony. There's no King Kamali. There's no Vince Taylor. There's no. You don't see it anymore. You know why? Because it's the new wave. It's the new trend that's going there. They don't care. I still say, and I'll say it again. Social media has done a lot of good things, but it's done a lot of bad things too, man. When a bodybuilder, I think I've said this before, when I used to show up at a guest posing appearance, people will come up to me and touch me to see if I'm real. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. They'd come up to me. They're just like, they couldn't even help themselves. They went like that to me, like, are you real, man? And then I was like, what's up? Come here, take a picture with me. And then within 10 minutes, you're speaking to them. They'll be like, yeah, man, you're intelligent. You can speak. You bring them down. You're like, okay, I'm I'm real. I'm king, blah, 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 blah. Now I don't know how to explain it. I remember when Ronnie Coleman came to guest pose at the Body Rock, and I think I said this before, my training partner was like, man, I see you every day. He's not going to impress me. Ronnie walked out. I'll never forget the look on his face. He was just like, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. I was like, now you know what Mr. Olympia looks like. And now you know why I train so hard. That is what I have to fucking compete against.
Yeah. There's levels to this game, bro.
Yeah. And the posing, the same thing. There was levels to posing. If Melvin was going to compete at a show at the Arnold and I'm going to be in it, I made sure that I went and got my music tight. I make sure that I practice my routine. I'm not going to let Melvin beat me. No way. Plus, there's a $20,000 check waiting for me. No way. I'm going to do it. You don't see that anymore, man. It's all walk to this side, walk to that side, hit a couple of most musculars, and get the fuck off the stage.
Yep. Let's talk about Martin. He came in here. We didn't know if he was going to do a show or not. His name was still on the sheet, but after everything he was going through, whatever, and I've got mixed feelings about this because you got a lot of people come out and say, hey man, give Martin a break, he's been through it enough. And I'm like, bro, he did it to himself. He did all this stuff. he, it wasn't just like the bad sportsmanship on stage stuff, whatever. Okay. Pushing Nick backstage, all the other stuff combined. And this is a pattern of behavior for years with Martin. So it's not like people are like, oh, Phil Heath, I just saw Phil Heath made a video like yesterday. It was like, yeah, man, Martin, people should be easy on Martin, this and that. Why? You did it to yourself. It's like, hey, like you went and killed somebody. Oh, be easy on him. He was in a bad place. Like, I get it. People go through hard places in their life, whether they're struggling, depression, drug, whatever it may be. But there's no excuse for a lot of the bad behavior he's done. And if people are like saying like, oh, he's a victim now, leave him alone, it's enough. And I'm not saying pick on the guy, but listen, you got to be accountable for your actions. And I think,
how come nobody said anything about Chris Cook? How come nobody said anything bad about him? How come nobody ever put him down? Why? Because he's a good guy. Because he's a respectful guy. Because he's a loyal guy. Because he's got class. I feel the same way, man. I have mixed feelings. I'll give him props. I'll give him props on this. He came out. He had a smile on his face. He took his placing correctly. He did the right thing at this show. It was definitely a better attitude. But I also, Armand, he did it to himself.
Yeah. My take is, look, I've got to give him kudos for not crawling into a hole. Yes. Because there's a profound amount of this conversation happening where people are beating him up, whether it changes him or not. I mean, that's the core of the man is gonna evolve, right? And he's a young man still, and even if he was 35, I'd say he's a young man. We're all growing, and so I want to be really careful about these things. Did he do it to himself? Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something, man. If all of you knew the shit that I did in my life, truly, none of you would be friends with me, right? And
that's all of us. I think that's all of us, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so I try to really be. I see a troubled man, right? And it's I was just glad. I'm like, look, the enemy plays a game with us, right? And that enemy wants us to get isolated so that enemy can continue to rip us down the hole and have him, funnel himself down whatever negative pathway, drugs, whatever. And for him to say, and kick against that and show up and put his face back in the limelight, ready for criticism. Good for him. Now, I think he was placed appropriately, finally. I mean, on a relative basis, he's watery. He's got work to do, but you know what? All right, maybe this is the step toward the right direction. Put the smile on, keep your mouth shut. Which would, dude, if my wife revealed to everybody all the times that I bitched and complained when my pro debut, New York Pro, we've talked about this, right? I took 6th, and I was so critical of the people that placed. Basically, the only one that I thought could beat me was Victor. Okay, and whether I was right or wrong, regardless, if people would hear me driving down the road talking about that afterwards, I'd probably lose a lot of friends.
And that's a little, because that's different though. That's in private. But when you're held in a as a public figure, and people's looking up to you, you got to act a certain way. Like,
I don't disagree. I'm just saying but at the heart position of the man is the same. That's all I'm saying, is that he displayed it. I didn't. I kept it quiet.
He just can't. You could control it. He can't control. Yeah, he has trouble controlling. And I was the same way too, dude. I used to do stuff, and I look back on. I'm like, who was that guy? Why would I do something that awful? Like, doesn't make sense. Why would I? Yeah. Like, who was I back then? Like the things I would do.
And there's a fine line between what you are in public and what you are in private.
Yeah.
Right. I had a lot of fights with the West Coast guys, with Cormier, with Melvin, Titus, obviously. But afterwards, the funniest thing was, Chris had a certain feeling towards me my first rookie year. But then, lo and behold, me and Cormier he's one of my best, if not my best friend in the IFBB. Like, we became that close, and we would hang out we'd guest pose and we go hang out, or the stories in Vegas I could tell. I'm not going to tell them. But the stuff that me and Chris did in Vegas is off the charts, crazy and fun. And it's just how you got to deal with it. Chris brought up a great point. Maturity really changes you. You know, maturity takes you to the next level. That's why a lot of the young girls nowadays are going for the older guys, because we have gone through the wars and we have the battle scars. But out of all of that, we came out with knowledge.
Yeah.
And that knowledge is you can't put a price on that knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Of what we know. And it's that these kids right now needs to understand. Yeah, you know, all the stuff that you hear. Like I used to give, I don't know about you guys. I would help people out in the gym. I used to. Let me show you how to do this. I don't do it anymore. You know why?
You can't anymore.
You can't because they think that you don't know what, or you're being creepy or something. So I just laugh, go do my own thing and whatever. Or sometimes they'll come up to you like, sir. I'm like, you call me sir one more time, I'll slap the shit out of you. My name is King. I'm not fucking 80 years old. Don't call me sir. All right, I'm sorry, man. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's cool. I don't care. But yeah, it's just a different.
Definitely don't try to help a girl out in the gym. Next thing you know, you're sexually harassing her, right?
I trust.
Why are you looking at me? And she's in her bra and panties in the gym.
Bro, I do the exact
seriously.
My formula is completely different than anybody else's. Anytime I see a hot ass fucking girl, I go to the other side of the fucking gym and I do my thing. And they've noticed, like I've had girls come up to me and say, is there a problem? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why do you always look like you don't like? I just don't want to deal with this shit, man. Adios.
Yeah, it's good policy, man, for sure.
You know,
when they come and their husbands introduce them to you, like, man, what are you doing, man? I don't want to know who she is. No thanks. Get it out of my. Just experience, man. Too much experience. I'm a Jedi master. I don't need that stuff, man. Nope.
You don't get people. Yeah, don't get involved with certain people and all that. You know, a man's brain doesn't even fully develop until age 25 to 27, anyways, right? So think about the decisions you made, like in your early 20s. It's just like, what were you doing? What was it, all of us.
I read an article just a few. My son is 16, and as you guys know, I just dropped him off in Cincinnati 3 weeks ago because he got traded. He's a professional soccer player, right? Very young, and so, but he's going through this phase, right? And going through it for a little while where he like resists just basic kind of guidance or wisdom for things, or even sometimes I just tell him what to do. And I was like, as a dad, you're like, bro, like, what's wrong with you? And what this study revealed was there's this, the resistance that happens is literally his brain being two sides. One is still the kid who's trying to be compliant and do, the kid role. And then this new part of the brain is forming saying, no, you need to establish who you are and become a man. Right. And it literally, it's diametrically opposed. And there's a battle that ensues, and he's literally confused as a result. And I think that this is what we're talking about, King, where the difference between you 10, 15, 20 years ago, and then where Martin is today. Even though, yes, he's a man, of course he's doing his own thing. That's actually still happening for him, right? He's trying to establish who he is, right? Because, on one side, and that's the other thing too about this social media stuff is like these characters, right? We are a character on our social media. And you have to choose who that's going to be. And a lot of people play that role really well. Just like in WWE, if you're a heel, you're a heel, and you make an entire career being the bad guy, right? And then it's kind of like Dwayne Johnson. I used to know him pretty well just because by virtue of being close together in Venice. We'd have these conversations all the time, right? Because of who he was in person relative to who you saw the character, right? And dude, this guy just understood that very, very well, right? Yeah. And so anyway, all of that kind of mixed in this bowl of soup for someone like Martin. My hope is that it evolves into this guy that can be loved, because he has a lot of potential there. Yeah.
His mentality is, kind of what he said is pretty much like, hey, I'm not going to be fake. Why am I going to fake? If I don't like this guy, I'm not going to play like I like him. So I get that, because I was the same way. Like I would do certain things all the time, and I would have people tell me like, hey, you don't have to say things out loud that you're thinking. You can keep it to yourself. Like, I was like, yeah, but I had a hard time controlling that, but it got me in a lot of trouble. And then as I got older, I mean, I think you know, when you're younger too, you got a lot of ego and pride is a big deal. You know, especially in fitness and all that. You're competing against other people who looks better in the gym. Everybody you look at is competition to you in the gym. Like, you know, in every single way, you this competitive mind. You know, it's good, but in a lot of ways, it's could be negative too. The way you treat it, because you're looking at everybody as competition, and we all grew up with those friends that we're like, man, these are my friends. They're always going to have my back. So you start doing a little bit better than them, they're not your friend. And then when you do bad, bad, they're like, yes, you know, he's failing. And then, you know, you kind of figure out like, you know, who should be in your circle or not. And so, you know, I know Martin, like when he was here, like I spent time with him, and he's one of those guys he needs to actively, I think, you know, have a mentor. He needs to be in counseling. He needs to look at what he's putting in his body, certain chemicals. You know, hey, not everybody can take Trembolone. I know a lot of people that they could not take it. If they would take it, they would do certain things that they would never do before. I mean, you know, I had guys, even crazy guys. It's like, yeah, hey man, when you took Tren, did it ever make you want to like hook up with guys and stuff like that? I'm like, no, it never made me want to do. Yeah, you never heard that, Chris? You never heard that?
No.
Like Tren makes you gay? All the kids say it now. Yeah. But like
that goes over my head too, bro. I've never heard that.
Dude, the kids say it all the time. They're like, yeah, man, a Tren made you want to do some like gay stuff. I'm like, no, I never did that to me.
That's because they combine Tren with some type of fucking ecstasy or Molly or some bullshit.
No, these kids just lost. This new generation, younger generation, they're a little odd, but
look at that fucking kid. What's his name? Clavicular or what's that kid?
Oh yeah.
He's the epitome of what the fuck is wrong. You know,
I smoke meth to keep my weight down.
He hits his face with a hammer so his jawbones stick out more. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's just stupid now. And the sad part is, he just purchased a $300,000 Ferrari. He's paying his bodyguard $60,000 a month. This kid is clueless, but because of social media, they created something, and now these kids. Thank God I called my daughter up, and she goes, "Oh, he's a douchebag, Dad." I'm like, "Thank God."
Oh yeah.
Thank God that you see him that way. She goes, "Oh, he's a douche."
I think that's King. That's the epitome of a douchebag. I mean, I don't know if you've seen him, Chris, but he's a streamer.
Don't go down that rabbit hole, brother. Stay away. You're gonna get mad, and all you're gonna do is just go punch somebody in the face. Don't do it.
That's all part of it. That's all part of this imagery, right? That character that we're talking about, right? And whether or not, you know, look, I think we can all agree to some degree. And I don't know if this is the case or not. Let's just pretend that everything you see about this kid is absolute, like, just made up, and it's just the character he paints on to get his clicks and to cash flow this opportunity of social media. I don't know. You know, I mean, that comes within reason, right? Because to me, what the influence of people matters, right? I don't want to influence somebody to do stupid things, but at the same time, he's simply monetizing a system that exists, right? That's, call it what you want, but at the end of the day, he's the one driving a Ferrari. So
yeah, but then it still comes down to the end of the day. It's like, okay, you're influence a lot of young men to hit your face with hammers. He said he smokes meth, so he likes to keep his face sucking in a little bit.
To the girls about how he takes Tren, and they're like, "What's Tren?" And then he goes, "You just don't understand.
You don't even work out. You don't think it works out.
Masculine maxing like that, Chris. Trust me, you're just gonna get mad. You're just gonna get pissed off. The bottom line is that the whole reason we even bring it up is apparently he's arrested and he's being charged with some serious crimes right now with some girl that I don't know something happened. Karma always catches up to these people, just like that Hawk Tour girl. You know, can you imagine sitting there and trying to talk to your kids about why Hawk Tour became famous?
Yeah.
I couldn't have. I was like, how am I supposed to explain it? Because she spits on some guy's wiener, and I can't even have that conversation with my daughter, you know. So I have to sit there and look at her. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't know anything about this Hawk Tour girl. But it's It's what we live in right now. It is exactly what we live in right now.
Yeah.
People like us that are paid our dues and made it to the pinnacle of our sports, we should be living in the lap of luxury, relaxing. Chris should be golfing every day with his boys and driving his Bentley home. I should, all these things are still possible, but it's been given to these people. It's just been handed so easily for a 22-year-old kid driving a $300,000 Ferrari and having 24-hour bodyguards around him paying him $60,000. It's just ludicrous, man, what's happening. I think that's the downfall of society.
It's not getting enough good. I mean, we saw what Wes Watson, look at him. He's going to, that dude's going to do like 10 to 20. We all know, I mean, Chris, you know him, Wes Watson?
No,
not a bodybuilder, but a big internet guy. Like he served prison. People don't know. Most people.
No. This is the big tattoo dude that
first
came out. And then he beat the shit out of his wife or somebody recently. I did see this guy.
First he got in a fight because he was telling people, come up to the gym if you have a problem and come find me at the gym. So somebody came up to the gym. It was just like, they called him the 7-foot monster. I don't know if he was 7 foot, but this big, tall, black guy. He's a little off. He set up his phone. He went and confronted him. But Wes didn't fight him like one-on-one like a real man. He used a belt, like a weight belt, and beat him up with. And then his friends jumped in and beat him up. And so they eventually arrested him for that. And then the judge told him, it was all on video, the judge told him, like, stay out of trouble. And then he was trying to talk back to the judge. Judge, and his attorney was like, Wes, be quiet. Like, shut up. You don't even know like how stupid you are for even just talking. Now he engages this girl. He's been with her for like a month, and he already got charges of like assault, false imprisonment. He wouldn't let her leave his house because he beat her up, and they're trying to come up with a story of why she's got all these bruises and things everywhere, telling her, hey, tell people you tripped on the carpet. And it's like, and she went and pressed charges when she finally got the house, but his bodyguard was there, and he wouldn't let her leave either. I'm not sure I think he should be charged too, because that's false imprisonment too. This girl's trying to leave. Was she with Wes because she loved him? No, she was with him for the money, obviously, but she got herself in a situation where she's being greedy, and you're with this crazy guy that's, off the handle already. It's getting worse and worse. And when he first got out of prison, he actually was helping people. He's like, listen, like I served time. I changed my life, and I'm making money now. He was coaching people. Like, it was like fitness coaching combined with like life coaching. And I don't know who in the world ever would pay this guy. It was nuts. People were actually paying this guy like $10,000 a month and stuff like that. But he made millions from this coaching business he had. And he was going in a direction, and then it went like boom overnight. It was like he was this just negative dude, like calling everybody out. Well, you don't have this car, and I do, or you don't. It was all about materials. All of it, like he left completely like what his core thing was, and now he's looking at like 10 to 20 years of prison. And I'll be surprised if he gets less than 10 in prison.
I recommend every kid and everybody who has that type of mentality that money is everything to go watch some Bob Marley videos. Just go watch him. Not his singing, but his interviews, his documentaries, and listen to how he lived. And the questions that they would ask him about money, and he would laugh at the guy's face. And he goes, if you're letting money dictate how happy you are in your life, you're miserable. You shouldn't even be here. There's so many things. Yes, money makes things easier, but it doesn't bring happiness. It doesn't. And those people that turn around and say, "Oh, it's because you don't have money." Yeah, I do. I have a supercar. I've done everything. I live that life, but I don't go out. I'm still smart. I'll still go bargain with somebody and be like, yeah, man, I'm not paying for that shit. I see these people at these shoe conventions paying $2,000, $3,000 for a pair of shoes. You got to be a absolute moron to do that. Okay.
I agree.
You got to be a moron to pay that much for a pair of shoes.
Yeah. These are all wealthy.
I played the shoes for a little bit, so I paid 2,000 King. So I'm one of those morons. I used to resell them though, so I'd buy one for like 2,000 and resell them.
Use it as a business. That's one thing, but if you're walking around wearing $2,000 shoes, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. Well, it's a relative thing. So all these things that we're talking about, actually, even drug use and things like that, these are all wealthy society issues. If you study economics and societies and criminal activity and things like that. And just the way that we cognitively kind of manage ourselves when we have access to things, right? And it's a trap, right? Because like I grew up without anything, right? With very, very poor, right? And then the objective is like, well, F that, dude. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to do everything that it takes in order to facilitate so my kid can have, nice clothes and live in a nice home and a neighborhood that's not, too bad, etc. Well, then now that generation becomes kind of tainted with their idea of what reality is. And my children, they don't understand struggle at all. Like
Right.
They've never been in a situation where there wasn't food in the fridge, right? Or a nice pair of pants to wear to school or shoes or whatever. So that changes their mentality. They have literally no understanding of these things. This is the old adage, right? About strong men making good times making weak men making bad times making strong men. And it's an inevitable cycle that we're in. And, as a parent, if your son wants, a Coke, or a soda, and you have that dollar in your pocket, you're innately designed to say, well, you want something, I have the ability to facilitate it, so I do. So the discipline element of disciplining your children actually is about you. It's not about the child.
Yeah.
And your ability to limit your feel good experience by not giving them what they desire. So I love this foundationally because bodybuilding structured my life in such a disciplined manner. My ability to say no to the inner side of me that wants something so bad then gives me the ability to hold strong to these principles when raising my children or managing life in general, driving new cars, things like that, right? Like I've gone through that phase similar to you. Like, yeah, I've had the Bentleys, bro. I've had the monstrosity of houses and all. And I'm going to tell you something, man. I was more pissed off and stressed out during those periods of my life than when I just backed way off, man. And dude, I'm not a Bentley guy. I'm just telling you, I'm not the exotic type. I'm a jacked up Toyota, pickup truck, big tire. I just enjoy that experience, but I had to go through that process to learn it. Right. So these are all really good things.
Yeah. When people go through that, I mean, you have it, you realize, okay, I'm happy for 2 weeks and it goes away. It didn't make me, I'm not happier in a, whatever, a few $100,000 car or a $40,000 car. So
I learned that from Armand. I learned that just through experience when I first moved to New York. I was staying at a place. It was a duplex faced on the water facing Manhattan on the West New York side. And my neighbors were a princess from the Middle East. I forgot, Lloyd Banks, the rapper, and Tyson Beckford, the model. And I learned so much from Tyson Beckford. I mean, this is a guy who could snap his finger and get 1,000 girls, models to show up at his crib. He was driving, just like Chris said, a red pickup with jack tires, and he would wear just T-shirts and jeans. And this most humble guy, the nicest guy you've ever met in your life. I learn. You learn slowly. You learn. But again, society right now is pushing them towards a completely different thing.
And go back to Chris, what you said about the kids. It's hard not to buy your kids. Like, oh man, like my parents didn't buy me a lot of things like I wanted. I really want this. And then, but it made a difference because when you start making money, you appreciate it. Like you said, like it's hard to say, like my son, it makes me happy to buy him things. Like he's so excited, but like you keep doing that, and they're gonna just expect things. The other day, he's like, "Well, I did this today. Don't I get some Pokemon cards?" I'm like, "Dude, I just bought you like 3 expensive Pokemon cards. You think just like?" And I had to talk to him about money, even though he's almost 7. You got to talk to him, like say, "Listen, like, you have a very nice life. There's kids out there with no you know, no food, no, you know, I tell them there's a homeless guy. See the homeless guy, like he doesn't have food, he doesn't have a shelter. Like you're very blessed. You say your prayers every night. You know, thank God for what you have. And it's hard though, Chris, when you have a kid, and then like you said, like
well,
he's in
there's
a position now where you're like kind of, you know, his brain. And I think, you know, you just got to they've got to make their mistakes just like we all did. We made a lot of mistakes to kind of figure things out. And, you know, it's rough.
Do you know this? Do you know, Armand, do you know the old story of Shaquille O'Neal and his father?
Yep.
Shaq's father. Shaq had a bad game and he was in a bad mood and said, yeah, man, I had a bad day. His father said, I want you at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're 1 minute late. And he was there. He got up, and Shaq's dad took him to this homeless encampment and said, they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
You got $25 million in your bank account. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's how you need to deal and teach children like that.
Yeah.
That's why Shaq right now, every week, he goes in his sandals and his looks like the crazy wear pants that he wears from old school 80s. You know, he's got that, and he's got a t-shirt. He just walks into Toys R Us and buys 5 kids anything they want. He walks into an Apple store, and he's blessing people every single day because his father raised him correctly, man.
Yeah. There's a proverb in the Bible that says, if you spare the rod, you hate your child. And I really didn't understand that for a long time till I kind of did a deeper study on it. In essence, what we're talking about, the reason why it says you hate your child is because you love the feeling that you get by not disciplining them now, right? Makes you feel better because it's difficult to discipline your child. No one wants to spank their child or discipline them or limit them with things. But you love that feeling more today than you care about their future, because the discipline now is going to shape them better in the future. Right. And you're forfeiting their future for your personal benefit as their parent today. Man, when I come to that realization, dude, that hits me hard, right? Because it's like, how do I love them, right? And by definition, I think all of us would say we love them more than we love ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? The old adage about your son, or the father is the only person in your son's life that truly wants him to be better than any other man. Never truly wants another man to be better than him except his son. And that's how you love them. So based on that, I force myself to take a disciplined approach to every action, right? Everything from their chores during the day to what they're required to do in school with grades, et cetera. And then even their performance with athletics. Like there's an expectation, right? And if you don't hit the mark, like you need to know that. And it's difficult. And that's the other thing about this. I'm not my children's friend. I don't pretend to be. I don't want to be labeled as such, right? I am their father. And that father takes another level of responsibility. And I have to risk them not liking me in order to raise them correctly. So if they don't like me till they finally wisen up into their 20s, you know what? So be it, because I hopefully set them on the right path.
Yeah.
And too many parents are like that, Chris. I mean, too many parents are friends with their kids, and you can't be friends with your kids, like you just said. You can't. I mean, it's not saying like, okay, you can't go do cool stuff with your kids or anything like that. You can't be their friend. You got to be their father. You got to teach them, hey, this isn't okay. Hey, you know, you got to teach them stuff, because I remember like me growing up, like my father, my parents, you know, were happily married and all that till my mom passed, but like my dad, he worked all the time. So he never taught me about girls. And so like when I started dating, I got in all these weird, toxic, horrible relationships. And if my dad just simply like, he would just say, hey, that girl's bad. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like that bad, that means good to me. That means like fun. She's going to be, you know, whatever. That's like what I thought. And you got to like tell them like, hey, this girl, if you break up with them and tell them this, they can go do this and say this, or the girls think differently. You got to teach them like, hey, like women don't think the same as men, and you can get caught in a bad situation who you're around, or you'll hear a lot of guys. Like I had a friend just a couple days ago. He was bragging, my age, he's bragging about how many girls he's hooking up with. I'm like, are you like in high school? Like that's not cool. it's cool. Like you're abstaining from it. It takes a bigger man to abstain from all these girls, especially if they're just coming to you. Like what we've all probably never had issues with girls getting girls at all, but it takes a bigger man to like say, hey, this girl's probably trouble, probably should stay away. There's some red flags, and to like kind of navigate through that, because dude, all my troubles in life have been with picking bad. I'm married now, and thank God, I love my life. I love my wife to death, but all these women, like certain women I dated, I mean, they put a dent in my life at the time and caused some serious damage just from, you know, making bad decisions, who you're around. And that's just not only women too, that's, you know, who you surround yourself with too. But let's get into some questions. Okay. Do you guys think Martin can really come back from his poor performance anytime soon? And why did Boss let him represent him like that on stage? Who wants to take a crack at it first?
Yes. And I am not his coach, so I don't know why. We don't know what's happening. I will say this last thing about Martin, and I'm not going to say it anymore. He looks like his body is looking more and more like Hunter Labrada, more and more to me. Hunter had that one sheen of water he just couldn't get rid of. And we found out what the problem was. He admitted it. He said he drinks his food. He doesn't eat solid food. And then it took time for him to start eating again because he had zero appetite and he wasn't used to eating and he wasn't used to chewing. Don Long was the same way. Don didn't like chewing. He just liked to drink his food. Your body has not evolved like that. You need to eat your food. So I wish him the best. We've invited him to come on the show. Martin, you're more than welcome to come on. We have nothing about it. You know, we have nothing against you. You can come out. You can say, we just say it as we see it, brother. I wish you the best, but your body looks like it's starting to go the opposite direction.
He looked really different this show, like body structure too. Like obviously he looked like he was a guest, but a lot of people said it in main comments. He looks like he's guest posing. You know, obviously he had a lot of stress. I mean, he was being attacked by everybody online and everybody. Of course, it's going to affect your stress levels, water, you know, holding on to water and all that. But it just looked like he was happy to just be there, like on stage. If he was or wasn't, who knows how, you know, he really was. But the whole sponsorship thing and all that, I think, well, I heard he was going to lose these sponsors anyways. And so, like, him acting out was kind of like, okay, I don't have much longer with these two sponsors, or I think it was like whatever sponsors he had anyways. I was told this by a close friend that kind of knows what was going on. And he kind of like he acted out like, I don't even care if I lose these sponsors, I'm going to lose them anyways in just a few months or whatever.
What do you guys think about the strategy of him, if he's health-wise, if he's still okay, to go into the New York Pro in 6 weeks? He could redeem himself. There's a possibility that he could, if he comes in sharp, he could redeem himself, because it's not the New York Pro lineup is not that deep.
But where's he at mentally, King? I mean, that's
what I said.
In a really dark place,
if he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think that there's the strategy seems logical, right? Because it's an opportunity, you know, a rung lower than you would expect the quality of guys to show up at the Arnold, right? That's the best of the best. So I think it would be an opportunity. The big question is, because I'm looking at his physique, you know, at both shows, at both Arnolds, right? And man, I battled a water issue pretty heavily. I mean, and even when I won the nationals, I was tighter than I had ever been, which gave me the nod, because I tell you, Jim and those guys, they really wanted it for me, you know, and they gave me the nod over Bill Wilmore at nationals. Bill was tighter than I was, but you know, my point is I wasn't drinking my meals. I was doing all the things. I was following the diet, right? But there was little things that we just hadn't figured out yet. And it could be, I retired. My last show, I did it at 28 years old. So maybe it was a maturity issue. Maybe, you know, some guys, it just takes a little longer for that to dry out and get there. But I honestly believe that I had some food issues, like when I was doing the USA, and the big issue that happened with me and Hani, where I was eating yams, and bro, the yam would literally take my stomach and bloat it up like crazy. but yet in the off season, I had no problem with yam. So I still this day is kind of almost baffling,
Right.
but I think that there could be some underlying, just technical issues that once he figures out and cleans out, he'll finally be able to dry up. I mean, you also have the possibility that, organ, like kidney issues or things like that. Like when people suck down, creatinine goes up, they lose efficiency. They can't pull dry. They could be that as well. Who really knows? I'm not suggesting he has a health issue, but there's a lot to figure out between now and if he were to do the Arnold. That, man, it's a long duration and a tough haul, if you will, if he's unable to figure that out.
Yeah. I talk about my best friend growing up all the time that passed away, Chris Shalali. He was a bodybuilder, cover model and all that. And his body wasn't responding for like a couple years. He's like, dude, whatever I do, he kept taking more drugs and more drugs and more drugs. And the whole time his liver was like pickled with tumors all over it. He had liver cancer. Oh, and if your organs aren't healthy, your body is not going to respond to the drugs because your drugs filter stuff and all that. And that's what it was. His organs weren't healthy. So all these guys that stay on year round and blast all the time, you don't understand. You're not going to be able to stay healthy. And we see a lot of these guys when they morph in like 2 to 3 years. It's not just their body. They look like completely different people in the face. Their whole face is a different person. I mean, the growth of everything, the nose, the brow, the jaw, just everything, that Neanderthal look. It's crazy. It's like used to, we all cared about how we looked, for whatever the magazines or bodybuilding. You wanted to look good overall, your skin, your face, your hair, everything. Now, today, they don't care. It's just like, I want to blast as much stuff, get as big as possible, pushing the food, the drugs, and the outcome is not so good. I mean, who do you see on stage really that's like, man, that guy's a really marketable guy? You would see kind of like back like, 20, 30, whatever years ago when you were competing, even when I was competing, the magazine guys, like who do you really see like, oh yeah, that's a good looking guy that could be really marketable if like it was back in the magazine days or something like that. I don't see too many of them.
No. You don't.
You got some classic guys that look, they have.
Well, I think that's the very thing I was going to say is that it's the sport kind of divided itself in half by taking, for lack of definition, kind of like the good looking dudes and putting them into this classic category. So, I mean, I think we could all agree, right? If Bumstead, just using him as an example, would have, release the Kraken, if you will, and add another 25 pounds or even 15 extra pounds to his physique, man, now we're talking, we're adding back that element that I think is missing. Like we had these guys that even Flex Wheeler, he did have a few years where he got really round and full, right? But dude, what was the highest level of weight that Flex competed at? Like 235,
240 max.
Okay. I mean, dude, 240, bro. I wasn't winning the USA at 240. Okay. Like, I mean, honestly, like that, my frame required just a lot more meat on it in order for me to fill it in and look around. Whereas with Flex, so in today's era, where the best of Flex Wheeler, which was arguably a lot of folks look at the 93 right when he turned pro. And I think it was the first time he won the Arnold Classic as well as a rookie. I mean, this guy was unbelievably symmetrical and beautiful. And on stage, I don't even know if he was 220 yet, like maybe barely.
He's the reason why Labrada retired.
Yeah.
They're like, you just got second at the Ironman and second at the Arnold Classic. Why are you retiring? He goes, Flex Wheeler. Because when someone like that comes along, it's time to retire.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I mean, I'm quoting.
Right. So then, it's the Sean Rays, the Flex Wheelers. I mean, who's a few, even arguably not, I don't know exactly. I can't remember what weight, but even look at 92 Kevin Levrone, right? Not a super heavy guy, right? He played the Mass Monster game and got there. But man, very aesthetic, second to Dorian Yates, very promising career. Would he be in that category as well? So it's like literally almost two different categories of men that And, you know, they're just taking advantage of where they're going to best utilize their talents and make the money. So,
yeah. Everyone's saying and giving Cito credit for Andrew and the most unaware type of people that think they know bodybuilding. Kamal is the reason. Okay, so a lot of people have been talking about this. Since he hooked up with Kamal in the gym, I think Andrew wasn't giving it all in his gym. I think he was just kind of going through the motions, getting a little pump workout, a little blood here and there. Once he hooked up with Kamal, Kamal's made a difference. He's been in the gym with him, kicking his butt, and of course the nutrition, all that matters. It's huge, but of course, if you're just taking it easy in the gym, just going through the motions, so I do think Kamal had a big reason, and Kamal's being humble about it. He's just kind of saying, yeah, his coach did this, I did this. It's two separate. It's obviously two separate things, but I believe Kamal had a huge role in Andrew's look.
I agree.
You guys?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we consistently argue here is the quality of training relative to these pros, and the quality of muscle and the density, et cetera, that comes with that. Yeah. But he's also a year older, further down the road, a little bit more experience and Chris working with him yet again on understanding how his body reacts, et cetera, and just tuning it up, man, so, heavily weighted toward Kamal, probably so, but everybody else, man, there's a lot of cogs or a lot of teeth in this wheel,
Yeah. Yo, King, hit up your Victor, get him on. I was going to hit up Victor too.
He's doing his own thing.
He has his contract, right, with them or something. I don't know if he has a contract or not. Yeah. I wanted to talk to him about the whole septic thing because he had the same thing to me. He went septic, got a whole spine surgery and all that. And and then Ronnie too, same thing. So, whatever. King, I hate when these heavy girls work out in skimpy outfits that look ridiculous.
Nice. Be nice. Be nice. Chubby girls need love too.
Problem is I train at home with my wife.
Oh, that's funny.
Dudes are gay already.
They're gay already. Blame trend.
They're super horny. They can't pull girls. Hey, man. Dude, I used to party with
questions. Let's shut it down. Enough with the questions.
No, we got a couple more questions, bro. It's like
off the subject now.
I'll find a subject that's there we go. Yeah. No. Yeah. No other questions that are here we go. How was Boss Lord in real life, Armand? He was a good. I liked him a lot. He was a nice guy, nice kid. He just was lost and obsessed with bodybuilding, and he's not here anymore because of a lot of things he did to his body. Did Patrick really places to deserve over Martin? I think Martin was really in shape, and we've all talked about it before. Patrick would do better in classic, right? Key, you said that, and he got mad at you, right?
Yeah, he went off on me, but I'm not talking about that.
Okay. Yeah, but I think he came in shape, and it is what it is. That's about it. A lot of negative stuff. Yeah. Okay. Closing words. We got Andrew, he's the guy, I think Samson has something to kind of worry about, right? You got Andrew now that's made this big leap, and this past year, it's incredible. You got Brandon. A lot of people counted Brandon out, and when you start getting a certain age, I think people try oh, that's not true. It is true. They try to push some people out. I think they're trying to do that to Brandon for a bit, but then it was boom. He made some improvements. As you get older, it's harder to make improvements because usually legs kind of go down, back kind of goes down. You start losing size in certain areas. That's harder to keep full and big. Brandon's we're going to have him on here eventually. So we already talked to him, but we'll get to talk to him about what he did and all that. But Brandon's just a nice guy. He's cool, calm. He's been doing this a long time. It's not like Andrew, where he's just been bodybuilding in the last 5 years or so. Brandon's been competing for a really long time. He started at a young age too, and they're about the same age, I think, like 42, so 41, 42. But Brandon, in the future, where does he go? Because he keeps placing. His health is good. He has a great physique. Like we all say, like, dude, from the upper, he has a Mr. Olympia upper body. Catch the legs up. I think, you know, the legs are where they're going to be at this show. I think this is one of his best looks. I think he looked incredible. And then losing your luggage and food and all that, still, if you know people are going to set you up, you're still going to be stressed out. But I think he's been doing this for such a long time. He kept his cool and then showed up on point.
Yeah, my final words are, Andrew, it's going to be, I'm looking forward for the Olympia. I think we all are as fans. I think Samson is going to be dangerous. I think he's got some new life, and the size that he's puts on. If he brings in the package that we're all waiting for, he's going to be very dangerous. He'll be right in there. Nick, you know, he's going to be Nick.
Yeah.
He controls that stomach, which I'm sure he's going to work on. He's going to be right in there. And if Hottie can get past all the politics and all that stuff, it's going to be a great show. And of course, you have Derek. I think Derek is, out of every one of these guys that I just mentioned, I think Derek should worry the most.
I do too.
That's what I think. Because going back and looking at Derek's pictures, his dominating back double biceps, but dominating back shot, it's not so dominating after what I saw with Andrew. It's not. You know, and if he loses the back shots, Derek's cooked.
Yeah,
that's his bread and butter. If he loses those back shots, he's cooked. So I would be worried if I was Derek. That's it. And I think that it's going to be an incredible Mr. Olympia. And hopefully this year my ass will be there so I can see all you guys and see all the boys. I know Dexter. I miss Dexter. I miss Cormier. I miss Bobchick. I miss all these guys. So hopefully I can make it.
Yeah. Consensus on my side is very aligned with yours as well. I think I'm hoping that the momentum of this show gives Brandon a look to maybe squeeze back in that top 3-4 area. And you know, look, I think we're drifting back out of the era of the smaller guys. We had a bit of a dry spell of the bigger guys at the top level coming in mature. And now we're seeing, right, time do what Mother Time does with these big men. You know, so Samson, I love Samson's physique if he can get it right, bro, because there are elements to Andrew's physique that, you know, that are like crazy, amazing, beautiful, but are a little bit choppy, if you will, like little pieces put together. Whereas Samson is a flow. He's got that more aesthetic element if he can get that combination of size and tightness right. So yeah, you're right, King. This Olympia is shaping up to be like pretty amazing. And so I'd love to be there, watch it live.
Yeah. I pray nobody drops out. Like, you know, we always have like, this show is going to be amazing, and then someone drops out. And then what are your thoughts on Samson's weight though and the size he got to? You think it's going to be problematic when he tries to bring it down?
No, man, I don't.
I used to lean that way a little bit, but I don't anymore because, you know, even Weinberger said he saw him in person. He goes,
right.
This guy's hard. He goes, it's not what you guys think. It's hard. So again,
he's not fat.
I think it's going to be a great Olympia. Really do.
Look, we lived in that era, man. You know, these guys, Ronnie being one of them, right? I mean, dude, a monstrosity of a human being, right? And he was able to get it right and show up. And so I'm not bothered by that at all. I think I actually love it because of, you know, he got beat up for coming in too tight, quote unquote, whatever, at the last Olympia. Of course, he's gonna be like, what small was I? Okay. And he's going to show up, man. They measured his bicep the other day. It was like 24.5 inches, right? Just cold. And it's like, dude, he's love
so
that
big.
stuff. Yeah, he's a monster.
So huge. He's got to feel terrible. Just his sleep, just getting around, man. Big boy. All right, guys. Good show today. Close down, guys. Subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys think going into Olympia.
Chris, please get my number from Armand and send me a text.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll send you right now. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.
Later, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Yep.
Yeah. Later, guys.